Hello and welcome. If you're working with product data, you totally know the feeling, right? You're swimming in this ocean of information and all you need is one specific answer. It can feel like you're stuck in a maze. Well, today, we're going to show you how to find the exit by turning that tangled mess into a clear, simple map.
It's a huge challenge. A modern product isn't just a product. It's a massive ecosystem of information. We're talking thousands upon thousands of parts, CAD models, documents, requirements, suppliers, and they're all connected. So when you need to find something super specific, like say all the parts from one supplier used in a certain assembly that are currently in review, where do you even start?
And this is exactly what we call the data maze. Yeah, the information is in there somewhere, but it's all tangled up in this incredibly complex web of connections. And trying to find what you need can feel, well, impossible. It just costs you valuable time and leads to some really frustrating dead ends.
But what if you had a tool that was specifically designed to just slice right through all that complexity? Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today. Let's meet the solution, the Query Builder.
So to put it simply, the Query Builder is a visual way to ask your database some very specific questions. Instead of having to write lines of complicated code, you get to use this really intuitive drag-and-drop interface to build a powerful search. And you know what the best part is? It can be saved, shared, and used again and again. That means anyone in your organization can find the answers they need. It really levels the playing field for data access.
Building a query is actually a pretty simple, logical process. First, you pick your starting point. Then you build out your map by telling it which relationships you want to explore. And finally, you apply conditions to zero in on the exact answer you're looking for. Let's break that down a little more.
Okay, so it all starts with the map. The very first real step in building one of these queries is to visually chart out how all your data is connected. This structure, this map, is the foundation for everything else you're going to do.
You know how every good map has that little "you are here" marker? Well, in the Query Builder, we call that the context item. It's simply the starting point of your search. You might start with a part if you want to explore a product structure, or maybe a document to track down specific requirements. Now, from that starting point, you can go in two incredibly powerful directions. You can look downward to see what a part is made of, which is basically like exploring its bill of materials. Or, and this is so important, you can look upward to find every single place that part is used. This where used search is absolutely critical for understanding the impact of any change. Just think about it. If you find a defect in a single tiny screw, a where used search can instantly show you every product in your entire portfolio that needs to be fixed. That is a total game changer.
And it gets even better. With something called recursive searches, you don't have to map out every single level of a really complex product. You just define the logic for one level, like how a part connects to its subparts, and the query automatically just repeats that logic all the way down the chain, through every subassembly right down to the very last component. It's an absolutely incredible time saver. Okay, so now you have a map of all the possible connections. That's a great start. But let's be honest, it's still a ton of information. The real magic happens when you start filtering out all the noise to find the specific answers you're actually looking for.
Right. Let's stick with our map analogy. Your structure shows you all the possible roads you could take, but you don't want every road, do you? You want the fastest, most direct route to your destination. So how do you find it?
Well, the answer is search conditions. The best way to think about them is as these super powerful filters you can apply to your map. They let you refine your search and narrow things down, turning that giant sea of data into just the handful of results you actually need.
Let's look at a real-world example. Imagine you run a query to find all the CAD documents related to a new product. Without any conditions, you're going to get everything. Preliminary sketches, models that are still being worked on, outdated versions. It's just overwhelming and, honestly, not very useful.
But now we apply one simple condition. We just tell the query, hey, I'm only interested in documents where the state is released. That's it. One click, one powerful little filter.
And boom, look at the result. After applying that one simple condition, your query now only returns the final approved CAD documents that are ready for manufacturing. All the noise is just gone, and you're left with exactly what you need. That is the power of refinement.
And to make these queries even more flexible, you can use something called parameters. A parameter basically turns your filter into a little fill-in-the-blank field. So instead of locking the state to released, a user can choose the state they want, maybe preliminary or in review, each time they run the query.
This makes one single query valuable for a whole bunch of different people and situations.
So once you've mastered the basics of mapping and filtering, the Query Builder really opens up some truly advanced capabilities. And these can give you even deeper insights into your product data.
A really key feature here is called structure resolution. Products are constantly evolving, which means parts have different versions and revisions. Structure resolution answers a super critical question. When I look at an assembly, which version of each component should I be seeing?
And here's the thing. You get to choose the answer based on what you need. An engineer, for example, might want to see the latest version of a part to check on the most recent design changes. But someone in manufacturing absolutely needs the latest released version to make sure they're building with approved components. The same query can serve both of them just by changing the resolution mode.
And there are other powerful tools in the toolbox too, like the exists function. This lets you filter your results based on whether or not a relationship even exists. So for example, you can instantly find all the parts that have a bill of materials, which filters out every single individual component that isn't an assembly. It's a really simple way to separate the assemblies from the piece parts.
So let's bring this all together. What's the real, ultimate value of mastering a tool like the Query Builder? Well, it's all about completely transforming how you and your team interact with your own data. So, why does all this matter? It means you're turning raw, messy data into real, actionable intelligence. You're empowering your entire team to ask really complex questions without needing to be programmers. You're building a library of reusable searches that saves everybody time. And ultimately, you're getting the precise answers you need to make faster, better decisions. And you're finally finding those critical insights that were once lost in that data maze.
So the Query Builder gives you the map you need to navigate all your product data. The only question left is, what hidden opportunities, risks, and game-changing insights are just waiting to be discovered in yours?